Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3303. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today we take a look at an upcoming official in-game event. There's a new interview with David Braben, and the Galactic Mapping Project are asking for assistance. It begins on the 29th of April. This is a new official in-game event. It's been organised by the official Elite Dangerous author of the book Elite Reclamation, Drew Wagar, and it's following the events around the character Salome. Now, Salome was a former Imperial Senator, and her birth name was Kaina Loren. There was some pretty significant story events surrounding her fall from a senator, and that is largely recounted in the book Elite Reclamation. Now, the in-game event, what is that going to be about? Well, there has recently been an article on Galnet about some of her most recent exploits. Most recently, she was caught on security footage fleeing Daniel's progress in the Maya system after a theft of some meta-alloys. Now, we all know meta-alloys are fairly commonplace, so there must be some significance to the ones that she stole. She's also known to have been in the company of Aran Corson. He is an ex-Metadrive employee. Now, Metadrive is a company that researches advanced jump drive technology, and although it's all very hush-hush and they won't admit to exactly what it is they're researching, some information has been leaked over recent months, and again, this also made its way to Galnet, where it was discovered that they are working on wake suppression technology. Now, all of these are fairly significant background storyline events, and many in the community are speculating that when they come to fruition, they will bring some type of change to the game. So although details on this in-game event are very sparse at the moment, more details are going to be released during April. Drew Wagar himself has confirmed that the scenarios that unfold during this event will directly affect the ending of his new book, Elite Premonition. So what that means is that players are going to have the opportunity to affect a Elite Dangerous novel, have the opportunity to appear within that book, and also potentially have an impact on whatever comes next within the galaxy of Elite Dangerous. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing where this one goes, and I'm curious to see whether it'll have any effect on the Formidine Rift mystery, or perhaps even Raxler. It's also possible that there could be some type of connection to the unfolding alien events. David Braben has recently done a new interview with the official PlayStation magazine. You can read this on the website gamesradar.com, I'll link that in the video description below, and he does talk about some fairly interesting things. Much of it is the stuff we already know, but of course this is for the PlayStation 4 audience, so it will be all new to them. Towards the end of the article, he does talk about the future of the game, and I'll briefly read off a few lines there. Now, he's asked if he could reveal a few more details about what could be expected next. As usual, he is somewhat evasive about answering the question, but he does go on to say that there are a lot of things that we have already talked about that are somewhere in our future roadmap, without saying how far off: planets with atmospheres, gas giants, and just straightforward richness of interaction between the players. Now, the lead designer of Elite Dangerous, Sandro Samarco, was also asked a very similar question on the recent livestream. Now, keep in mind that all the questions he was asked were actually posted to the forum, and he picked and chose which ones he wanted to answer, and he picked the question about planets with atmospheres, and his answer was very simple: it was no comment. But before you get frustrated with that answer, it is typically an answer that Frontier reserve for content that is very close. David Braben then goes on to finish his answer to this particular question with, "And there are the aliens." That will change the way a lot of people choose to play the game, because we will see a rise in the military, and we may see people looking at the world differently. There's a current sort of Cold War, almost, between the Empire and the Federation, which is hotting up a bit at the moment, and people don't really know where the aliens are going to go. But then, as that gradually changes, how will that change the game? Now, I can kind of relate to the points that many people have raised previously about these sorts of answers, that they have been floating around for far too long now. David Braben and perhaps much of Frontier have been given answers like this for perhaps 18 months, maybe even 2 years. Within this interview though, David Braben does kind of acknowledge that in a roundabout way, and goes on to say that the PlayStation 4 players are going to be joining the game at a very interesting point, because finally all the build up to those various storylines is at last going to play out. So like I say, if you want to check out the interview for yourself, do have a look in the link in the video description. And unfortunately as yet there's still no official release date for the PlayStation 4 version, but Frontier are still sticking to the rather wide margin of a second quarter release. The people behind the Galactic Mapping Project have put out a rather special request for assistance on their project. Now you've probably seen this map here before. This is an overview of the galaxy and it was put together by Corbin Moran. There's also a website that you can visit and there's a link in the video description. And what this does is provide huge amounts of information about the galaxy, far more information than you can get in the game in many respects, and it's a very useful resource. Now the people behind the project are asking for help in 3 different areas. Firstly, they want help with the Guardian ruins and other mystery sites. Now there are many of these out there. Initially there was only 3 or 4 Guardian sites, but soon many of them began to be found. And with the recent upgrade to the Discovery Scanner, there are now potentially hundreds of these sites out there. So the people behind the Galactic Mapping Project are asking for help in determining all these locations, as well as bringing screenshots from a variety of these locations as well. Another area they're hoping to get some help in is with regards to permit-locked regions. Now players are often surprised to hear just how many permit-locked regions there are. And you can see many of them here. They believe they've actually found most of them, and in many cases these regions are actually larger than the human inhabited bubble. The fact that they are permit locked means they're reserved for future content. So what the Galactic Mapping Project are after here is more extensive detail on these particular locked regions. For example, the size of these regions, the shapes of them, the potential number of stars within them, as well as any known lore or history behind these regions. And then there is all the player-run events and voyages. If you've been involved in any of these and they're not already included, then why not let the guys know and they will include it on the mapping project. Essentially, what this is all about is creating a one-stop resource for everything to do with the history and the galaxy of Elite Dangerous. So if you think you can help out, check out the link in the video description. That will take you to the forum thread where the request has been made, and you can find out more information on just how you can help out. That then brings us to an end of this episode of 3303. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.